Some of you have been asking for tips on how to build your forearms. So first things first, I'd like to compliment you. I'm impressed. So many people neglect their forearms and then they have these weirdly proportionate arms where they're like big arms and no forearms, kind of like with some of you people do with calves, but that's beside the point. We're gonna be focusing on forearms today. It's gonna be a little bit of lower biceps too, just because one of the aspects of the upper arm is the brachialis. It runs through, like up the side of your arm, then underneath the bicep, and then hits right there in your forearm too. So we'll be hitting everything we can to guard your forearms. So starting off our forearm workout, we're gonna start with hammers. The reason I usually start with hammers is they focused a lot on the bicep as well. Typically, so they will hit your brachialis right there, but they'll also hit some of your long head. And so I kind of like starting forearms with them because usually when I'm hitting arms, I will have just been doing some biceps anyway. So it's just a nice, smooth segue into switching to forearms. So on this one, we'll do probably 10 to 15 reps just to warm up. And then I usually will go as heavy as the 4 to 6 range. And you can do them alternating or together. I like alternating more because I can feel a little bit more in my brachialis. And then something else you can do is if you want to do a single arm, I've talked about this with rear delts before, it's the same thing with brachialis and biceps. You can come up and basically tap your brachialis right there, and you can kind of switch between how pronated you are on your grip to get an idea for what's activating the muscle more and what's not as effective. You can do this with every set, but you should at least do it with the last set. Kind of do like something of a drop set, but instead of just like doing a typical alternating hammer curl, which is great, I like getting a little bit more biceps in because I have a chip on my shoulder. And when you do these ones, instead of doing like a regular curl, you're gonna come up like, you're gonna have a neutral grip, but you're gonna come out to the side. Not only will this like help build your short head, long head, and brachialis for your arms, it's also a really good way to improve strength for like dumbbell military and other dumbbell presses, since so often we're doing movements like this on presses with dumbbells. If you don't have like enough stability or strength in your forearms and like your brachialis, you're going to notice it can severely impair your actual ability to press. So now we're gonna be doing one of my favorite curls, reverse curls. And I do them with a suicide grip, which just means I don't have my thumbs underneath. That would be a regular, but I like the suicide grip. I get more focus on actual grip strength, and I've noticed it's actually easier on the wrist too. So just start off with anywhere from 15 to 30 reps, focusing on not just contracting the brachialis, but also you kind of want your grip to fail. Like you want to get to that point where you feel like you're going to drop the barbell on the floor and then stop right there. So we're going to start with just some seated wrist curls. You've all probably done them before, or if you haven't trained forearms nearly enough, maybe you haven't. You can do them where you're just the back of your forearms just resting on your thighs with probably a little bit of space between your actual wrist and like a little bit of space between your wrist and your actual forearm, just because you don't want your forearm like right on your knee. That's not really that comfortable. So you can do them like this, or if you want, you can do them like with your actual brachialis like against the inside of your thigh, and you're gonna be holding them a little bit further down. Forearm is such a nice burn. For the last one, we're gonna do like a giant set. It's gonna be 5 exercises put together, no rest in between. Have everything ready right off the bat, so you're not like racing around the gym frenetically trying to get everything. So we're gonna start with some reverse curls, then some standing behind the back wrist curls, move into some dumbbell stuff, and this will all be one continuous set. You'll burn out with your forearms doing 2 or 3 sets of it. Rep range anywhere from 8 to 30. So when you fail with those, so when you're gonna go into the standing wrist curl, when you're doing these, to have it behind your hamstring and let it stretch to like the very bottom of your fingertips. So on this, you're gonna focus a lot more, and I always put my hand on my forearm to try and feel it more. You're gonna focus more on just the contraction, whereas the last thing was focus more on the stretch, just so you get a good combination of different types of burning. And I like gripping it a little bit closer to the outside plate on the dumbbell, and I'll usually have it like tilted a little bit so I can feel it a little more in there when I'm doing that. Next up, focusing on really feeling that contraction right there, so you'll feel a little bit of stretch in your forearm up there, and then come up and focus on contracting that as much as possible. And now, dumbbell reverse wrist curls. All right, so that was how I finished off my forearm workout with a giant set. It should just hurt. You're already probably going heavy on most of your pull workouts, which also, if you want to build forearms, don't use straps all the time for your pulls. And yeah, so that's how I do forearms. And it actually worked out all right today. So, peace out.
You flex too hard?
Flex too hard.